MSW Media.
News with swearing. Daily beans, daily beans. Daily beans, daily beans.
Hello and welcome to the Daily Beans for Monday, November 11th, 2024. Today, Montana state Democrats are seeing legislative gains after redistricting. U.S. retailers dependent on foreign goods are preparing to raise prices on American consumers. Trump allies in the private sector are quietly preparing for the mass deportation of immigrants. Voters reject Initiative 2117 in Washington state. And Elon Musk joined Donald Trump's call with President Volodymyr Zelensky. I'm Allison Gill.
And I'm Dana Goldberg.
Hey, Dana, how are you? How did your events go? We missed you on Friday.
Thank you. Thanks for covering me. You know, I will say, as you know, the first 2 days, and I just want to thank all the listeners for sending little messages to my Instagram and to other places, but a lot of them were on Instagram. I was very teary, obviously, during our podcast taping, and I was very, very teary on the Stephanie Miller show, and that's live, so I couldn't really cut that one out. And you guys all just sent in messages thanking me for my vulnerability, and that's somehow, for some of you, my willingness to allow myself breakdown gave you permission to as well. And so I hope you continue to do that and grieve whatever you need to and whatever process you need to. I text some friends of mine and they were like, I feel like I'm going through the stages of grief. And I was like, yes, but did you think that some of your t-shirts would make better tank tops and you cut all the sleeves off? I didn't think so. I did. And I was wrong. They do not make better tank tops. But my events were actually cathartic and healing. Everyone in the community is very sad, very scared and angry and fired up. We were fired up. My first gig was for Cal and Lord, and that is an LGBTQ plus health organization in New York. So despite what happens on a federal level, they have a private organization that is now $150,000 more funded because of my work on Thursday. And then on Saturday night, I was in Chicago for the Human Rights Campaign Gala, and we had a couple Beans listeners that came to say hi. So thank you for going. And I broke their fundraising goal by a lot, even with some technical difficulties. And the highlight of my night, so my rose for that night was I got to meet Catherine Hahn, and she is fucking incredible.
Oh, amazing. And thank you so much for that work. It's nothing I think is more important right now than community and funding things like healthcare, privately funded healthcare for the community. Yeah. And so thank you so much for that work. And I, second what you said about feeling sad and feeling grief. I go back and forth between we're going to fucking fight and I just want to go live in a lake house in Maine. Yeah. And go away.
Yeah, me too.
With my fam, with my family, my chosen fam.
Yeah.
And so it's totally, it's totally normal. And honestly, just being able to do this show and speak with everybody like we did last week on that call is keeping me going. So putting my head down and doing some work, like you said, very cathartic. And thank you again for the work that you did.
Oh my God. Absolutely. It was healing for me as well. So
good. I'm glad.
I needed it.
And we do have a little bit of good news here. You'll recall we had Dr. Vin Gupta on the show to discuss why voters in Washington state should reject Initiative 2117. Well, voters overwhelmingly rejected it by nearly 62%. It would have repealed the state's Climate Act. It was funded by a couple of billionaires who want to, stop regulations so that they can make money while sludging up our planet. And Governor Jay Inslee said, over the next 4 years, the nation is going to be looking for advances in these value systems, particularly in climate change. It can now look at Washington state and have the message from this time and place that it's a winning message to stand against climate change. And this is a message that will spread throughout the United States. That is why it's so important that we don't lose this initiative. Otherwise, it could have dampened enthusiasm for climate action. So that's the governor, and thanks to the voters of Washington for overwhelmingly repealing the Climate Act there. So good job.
Absolutely. And I apologize if you covered this last week, and you can even cut this part out if you did, but they flipped the Supreme Court in Kentucky. to a liberal court, everyone. Like, I don't still fucking understand how this is happening in certain places, like the cognitive dissonance in this country. But now there's a liberal Supreme Court in Kentucky. It's mind blowing to me. So for all those people that went out and voted there, and you got some, judges in those seats, you might be able to do some good things with maps in the future and other things. So there were small wins across this country, the LGBTQ people that got elected into office, and, the break of the supermajority in North Carolina, and now the Supreme Court in Kentucky. Like, it's all mind boggling. And when I'm that's all I can do is laugh now. Like, some friends and I went to breakfast, Allison, and she was like, if you excuse me real quick, I'm going to go to the bathroom. And I was like, just do it in your seat. Like, why are you leaving? Like, decency is gone. I don't understand. Like, and you can only make jokes at this time. At least that's how I cope.
Right.
It's how I've always coped. And so at this point, it's just like so fucking absurd that I have to laugh so I don't cry.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And that's, why we had the whole fantasy indictment league during the Mueller years, was because we just needed to keep it light as we could, at least. And, we're going to talk about some headway made in Montana in the state legislature. But yeah, it's so important to find what somebody we had a second call on Friday for the Leguminati, and somebody brought up this piece that Brene Brown wrote.
I love her.
Talked about how she used the phrase, we have to microdose hope. And so these little wins, I think, are important. And don't let anybody tell you this was a red wave or a landslide.
It was 2 points.
It's like at 1.6 right now.
Yeah.
And they're like, it's a handful of votes.
And I will say this, and AG, I know you just, and again, I use humor, but if we do have a midterm election, the midterms are in a popularity contest, like this presidency felt like to a lot of us. It's not who you like more. A lot of people are going to realize they have buyer's remorse when the things that they were voting for or promised during, from the other side don't reach them. And all of these elected officials in their districts are failing them and backing a Trump presidency that is failing them. We are going to turn out in the midterms. It's very different. Different people get out and vote in the midterms, unfortunately, than they do in the presidential. And they've got 2 years. And like I said, assuming we have a midterm election, we have 2 years. And I believe that we could have a very good showing if people get out and vote. And when the other side realizes they've been duped.
There are seriously people out there that didn't know Kamala Harris was the other candidate.
It's just mind boggling. I'm just saying, everyone, there's going to be an opportunity. So let's not completely write this off. I know everyone is in a little bit of a dread spin right now. It's only been less than a week, and that's okay. Feel your feelings, but there's a fight ahead, and we need as many people as we can.
Yeah. And my hope upon hopes is that the elections are run by individual states. Yeah. And I'm hoping that every single individual state runs a free and fair election.
100%.
And if Trump wants to pass laws that make that not the case, you have to have 60 votes in the Senate. Right. And, I don't have any faith in the Supreme Court, but.
Agreed.
And, I hear you. The guardrails have been blown to bits, but there's still a little bit left. So we have to kind of hang on to those. Yeah. And just move forward, get the right information out to the people that we can, and microdose hope.
That's right. And mushroom, whatever else you need to as well. That's fine. Mm-hmm. But hope, make sure hope's in there somewhere.
Hope, mushrooms, ketamine,
maybe just doctor,
maybe a little THC gummy here and there, whatever.
Or just juice, people.
Just juice. Drink a juice, Shelby. All right, everybody, we've got a lot of news to get to. Let's hit the hot notes. Hot notes. All right, first up from Rachel Scott and Catherine Folders at ABC News, billionaire Elon Musk joined President-elect Donald Trump, I hate saying that, his phone call with Volodymyr Zelensky on Wednesday, according to multiple sources with direct knowledge who told ABC News this. The phone call began with Zelensky congratulating Trump on his election victory. Trump then handed the phone to Musk, and Zelensky thanked Musk.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Remarking that the call was possible because of his Starlink internet service. Now, Trump then remarked that Starlink was helpful in providing internet for recent hurricane victims. Musk was at Mar-a-Lago with Trump on election night, as well as the day after, as previously reported by ABC News, and Musk's involvement in the call further highlights his influence in the upcoming administration. Musk was present for at least one other phone call with a foreign leader, Turkey's President Erdogan, who spoke to the president-elect Wednesday while he was dining with Musk at his Mar-a-Lago club. It's not clear if Musk participated in that call. Now, Trump hasn't left Mar-a-Lago since returning from the convention center in the early hours of Wednesday morning. Musk, the world's richest person, has a profound impact on Trump's campaign, including a multi-billion-dollar door-knocking operation. We talked about all the problems with that, a social media megaphone, and $1 million sweepstakes for battleground voters, which was illegal. Zelensky wrote on social media that he had an excellent call with Trump, but made no mention of Musk. Quote, I had an excellent call with President Trump and congratulated him on his historic landslide victory. His tremendous campaign made this result possible. And, I think he's saying these things so in hopes that Donald Trump will not completely cut him off and feed him to Putin. So that's why I'm sure why he's talking like that. The call happened as Zelensky seeks to shore up long-term American military and financial support. On the campaign trail, Trump has often boasted he would be able to stop the war in Ukraine within 24 hours of winning the election. So he's already broken a promise. But he has yet to also provide specifics as to how he would do that, often showing a willingness to work with both sides. As of now, Musk is expected to return to Mar-a-Lago next week, but plans remain in flux, according to sources familiar.
There is a crazy meaning because it is all a timeline, and it's true. There's a thing going around Twitter right now, and some video someone put together of the timeline of Elon Musk's participation in what happened over the last year with this election, and it's pretty frightening. That man, unfortunately, is not using his powers for good. This one's from Kate Gibson at CBS. As President-elect Trump readies the return to the Oval Office, U.S. retailers that depend on foreign suppliers are prepared to pass along the cost of his proposed import tariffs to the customers, because that's what we've been saying, potentially leading to higher prices for a range of products. Americans stand to lose between $46 billion and $78 billion in spending power each year on products including apparel, toys, furniture, household appliances, footwear, and travel goods due to the new tariffs, the National Retail Federation stated in findings released on Monday. For example, a $40 toaster, that oven would retail for about $48 to $52 after tariffs, while a $50 pair of running shoes now would jump to $59 to $64. That's according to the industry trade group. A $2,000 mattress and box spring set, that's going to cost $2,128 to $2,190. This is again from the NRF. Trump has said he plans to impose a 60% tax on goods from China and 10% to 20% levy on all of the $3 trillion in foreign goods the U.S. imports annually. Such sweeping tariffs would reignite inflation, as they would mostly be paid by U.S. consumers. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen has warned, offering a general view widely shared by other economists on both sides of the political aisle, and I'm sure he's going to put someone in that position who does not believe that that's the definition of a tariff. And this is a quote, a consistent theoretical and empirical finding in economics is that domestic consumers and domestic firms, they bear the burden of a tariff, not the foreign country. This is the nonpartisan budget lab at Yale University. That's what they stated in an analysis published in mid-October.
Sad that they have to say those words
right?
out loud.
I know. We all know Trump has repeatedly contended that foreign companies would foot the bill at a gathering last month at the Economic Club of Chicago that, quote, the countries will pay the tariffs. In reality, American importers pay the tariffs to the U.S. Customs and Border Protection Agency when their goods cross the border. So for now, it's unclear when the new Trump regime could seek to stiffen tariffs. The process to complete legislation required to raise the levies, it could take nearly a year. So any adverse impact might not be felt until 2026, according to Oxford Economics. And we know that for the first year, he's going to be, saying that this incredible economy is his. So just remember that it is not. It's Biden's. And when it crashes, that will be Trump's. Mm-hmm. And this is a quote, if we get tariffs, we will pass those tariff costs back to the consumer. This is Philip Daniel, CEO of vehicle parts supplier at AutoZone. That's what he told Wall Street Analytics in an earnings call in late September. Went on to say, we'll generally raise price ahead of, we know what the tariffs will be. We generally raise prices ahead of that. That's what Daniel said. Now, major suppliers at AutoZone include companies based in China, India, and Germany, according to the company. Stanley Black & Decker CEO Donald Allen Jr. said last week his tool-producing company has been planning for the possibility of additional tariffs on imports since the spring. Quote, obviously, coming out of the gate, there would be price increases associated with tariffs that we would put into the market. Were they screaming this during the election? Because they sure were fucking quiet.
No.
Businesses have also stocked up, placing bigger than usual import orders ahead of new tariffs taking hold, as the U.S. imported 11% more Chinese products in July and August than they did during the same 2-month period a year ago. That's according to the Census Bureau.
Yeah, and I'm reading stories about like companies who are having to lay people off and not giving out Christmas bonuses because they have to stock up ahead of the tariffs being raised. All right, next up from Priscilla Alvarez at CNN. Donald Trump's allies and some in the private sector have been quietly preparing to detain and deport migrants residing in the United States on a large scale, and that's according to sources familiar with the discussions. And with the former president becoming the president-elect, those preparations are expected to ramp up. Immigration was a cornerstone of Trump's 2024 campaign, as we know, and while he repeatedly touted promises of mass deportation, putting increased emphasis on interior enforcement compared to his 2016 fixation on the wall, members of his orbit and some in the private sector discussed what a plan would look like, and that's according to sources. Trump's day one priority is to reinstate his former administration's border policies and reverse those of President Joe Biden. That's what senior Trump advisor Jason Miller told CNN. Early discussions among Trump's team have focused on removing undocumented immigrants who have committed crimes. That's according to a source familiar with the preliminary plan. A key issue under consideration is how, when, and if to deport immigrants who were brought to the United States as children. Those are dreamers. Targeting dreamers would be a departure from the historically bipartisan support they've enjoyed. Some are temporarily protected by Obama-era Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, DACA. Tom Homan, who previously served as acting director of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, could potentially serve as one of the leads on immigration in the administration. Quote, it's not going to be a mass sweep of neighborhoods. It's not going to be building concentration camps. I've read it all. It's ridiculous. That's what Homan told CBS News. There'll be targeted arrests. We'll know who we're going to arrest, where we're most likely to find them based on numerous, investigative processes. That's what he said. That doesn't sound better.
No.
Brian Hughes, a Trump senior advisor, said that when the president-elect returns to the White House, I hate that. I hate that sentence so much. But when he returns to the White House, that one of his priorities will be border security. Quote, President Trump won a landslide victory Tuesday. No, he didn't. Because Americans embrace his common sense policy. No, they don't. They don't know about his policy. To secure our border and implement mass deportation for illegal migrants. That's what Hughes said. Hughes is incorrect. So there's a lot of logistical challenges to this. Even before Tuesday night, some in the private sector who help provide services for detention spaces had already been in ongoing discussions about a potential second Trump term. And stocks for these private-owned prisons skyrocketed after the election, which is also gross to think about. Over at the Department of Homeland Security, which is charged with this enforcement, officials are bracing for a seismic shift in immigration policy under the incoming Trump administration, prompting some interagency calls Wednesday as people prepare. One Homeland Security official described the mood internally as a mixed bag. One of the questions top of mind among those in the department was what will happen to Biden administration policies, like parole programs for certain nationalities that allowed beneficiaries to temporarily work in the United States. Quote, shell-shocked among the political, what another Homeland Security official said about their department. So we're going to keep an eye on this, and we'll keep reporting on what they do because, the truth needs to be out there.
Absolutely. Thank you, AG. This last one is from Eric Dietrich at the Montana Free Press. Tuesday's election, the first held with Montana's newly drawn legislative district maps, saw Democrats pick up House and Senate seats in the state legislature, even as the party's candidates were soundly rebuffed in elections for statewide and federal offices. Regardless, Republicans will remain in firm control of the legislature. Based on unofficial vote counts available as of Thursday, Montana Democrats appear likely to hold 41 of the 100 House and 18 of the Senate seats when in 2025 legislature convenes early next year. That's a 9-seat House and 2-seat Senate gain for Democrats relative to 2023, when Republicans held a 2/3 supermajority in both chambers. That power shift will make it easier for Democrats to block legislation, advance their priorities, and negotiate with Governor Greg Gianforte on issues that split the larger Republican caucus. When, for example, Montana's expanded Medicaid program was last renewed in 2019, it was backed by a coalition of Democrats and moderate Republicans that pushed the renewal bill through the state Senate by a one-vote margin over vigorous opposition from hardline Republicans. The program, which currently provides health coverage for about 78,000 Montanans, is up for renewal next year in what's likely to be one of the most high-profile debates of the session. Quote, when we have more seats, we have more leverage. And when you have more leverage, we have more power to influence the outcome and decisions in any issue, whether it's property tax or expanded Medicaid. That's Senate Minority Leader Pat Flowers. She's a Democrat from Belgrade. That's what she said during a Wednesday press call. Montana's legislative district maps are redrawn every 10 years to account for population shifts recorded by the decennial census. Because it takes years for federal statisticians to publish census data, and because the state constitution requires the state's redistricting commission to wait for input from one of the legislature's every other year sessions, this year's election was the first time the state used legislative maps based on data reflecting population counts of April of 2020, 4 years later. Republicans won an average of 58% of the votes statewide races this year and about 62% of the House votes, while winning 59 of the House seats. In comparison, Republicans won 64% of House votes and 68 of the House seats under the old maps in 2022. That's a good shift.
Yeah, that's quite.
6 points. 6 points.
Yeah. So, yeah, there was no red wave.
Yeah.
Sorry. It just wasn't a landslide victory. And I'm hanging on to that. That's my little nugget of hope that I'm hanging. I'm microdosing that hope today. All right. We have a lot of good news that we have to get to, but we have to take a quick break. So everybody stick around. We'll be right back.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Everybody, welcome back. It's time for the good news.
Good news, everyone. Then good news, everyone. Good news, good news.
And if you have good news, send us your microdose of hope, please.
Yes, please.
Send us your good news. And you can do that by paying your pod pet tax. And if you don't have a pod pet, you can send us an adoptable pet in your area. If you don't have that, you can send us a picture of any animal. And if you don't have that, you can send us your baby photos. Send them all to us, please, at dailybeanspod.com. Click on contact. And of course, any shout outs that you have for the government programs that we still have. Please send those. And of course, any student debt forgiveness stories, I still send those to the White House. And I will continue to do so until January 20th at noon, which is my birthday, which is a huge bummer. But I mean, bigger bummer for the United States. But I don't like that. I think I'm going to move my birthday this year. I think I'm going to move it
There you go.
to January
That seems
19th.
easy enough. Yeah, absolutely.
We can do that, right? And then, of course, shout outs to loved ones and yourself and your family and small businesses in your area. So send it all to us. Again, dailybeanspod.com. Click on contact. First up from EG, your pod is comfort and joy and shows me I'm not alone. Thank you. That's my whole goal. You know, you needed help with Pwawarsic. It's pronounced like with V's because, so pivo, because the Polish don't have the letter V, and means beer. A pivovar is a brewer. It's pronounced pivovarchek. Oh, okay. I like that way better.
V's for W's. Yeah, that makes sense.
Pivovarchek. Whatever I was saying. Pivovarchek. I like it. Now you know beer in Polish, and your listeners who enjoy it can be blessed with our Leguminati community knowledge. Thank you, EG. I really appreciate that.
I love that. This one's from Anonymous, pronouns she and her. You, my dear beans queens, are bean beams of light in the darkness. Here in the sticks of Southeast Indiana, literally in the soybeans, sending favorite photos of my two favorite babies, Rusty the Rescue Pushan and my now 32-year-old astronomer in a bowl that their ceramic dad made. Sending love to all of you in this amazing space. Oh my God, that baby is so
I was
cute.
so confused about that sentence. Our 32-year-old astronomer in a bowl.
I know.
I'm like, I'm sorry.
Also, that's a pretty nice sized bowl that their dad made.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, look at that.
Oh God, that kid's cute as shit.
Yeah, she's an astronomer. Oh, and these pups. This pupper. Rusty the Rescue Pouchon. So I guess that's a poodle Bichon.
Bichon.
Maybe.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for that. Next up, Anonymous, she, her. Hi, Allison and Dana. I can't say the things have been great this week. It's been hard and my stomach has been in knots. But I wanted to share some good news. In my last semester from a master's program at Georgetown University, and I'm the first in the family to go to college. I also wanted to, she's in her last semester for her master's program. I also wanted to pass along some good news from my mom. We live in a small town that has gotten funding from the infrastructure plan to upgrade the plumbing and water systems. She got a letter in the mail saying her lead pipes could be replaced at no cost using these funds. Her house does have older plumbing that would cost thousands to fix that she doesn't have. This program will help make her home more sound and more safe. I also had a question that I would love to know your opinion about. I'm a semifinalist in the Presidential Management Fellows Program. I have an interview to become a finalist coming up, but I just don't know what to do. I'm sure there will be cutbacks in federal funding and potentially reshaping of the government. I would love to know what you guys think. For Pod Pet Tax, I've included a picture of my sweet boy Scout. He's a sweet boy whose sweet nature and unconditional love have helped me get through these hard times. He loves to snuggle and loves when people hold his front paw.
Aww.
Love you guys and what you do. Anonymous, the Presidential Management Fellows Program. I would take it, run through the tape with it, see where it goes. Honestly,
I would agree with Allison. I feel like you don't have anything to lose. I mean, it's, you know what I mean? I feel like right now there's either something to gain or something to change. So I'm in agreement.
Look at this pooch.
I would like to hold this pooch's front paw.
Me too. Uh-oh.
Oh, man, you all are
goodness.
loving us today. This is from Melissa W., no pronouns given. Hi, Beans Queens. I hope this finds you well. Well, it's now found me better, Melissa. My grandma, who celebrated her 75th wedding anniversary earlier this year with my grandpa.
75 years.
That's amazing. Broke one of her arms in about 2 months ago. She recently had an x-ray done and found out recently that her arm is healing. She's now starting therapy, but it will be a while till she can return to the assisted living place that she and my grandpa reside in. And I will continue to drive my grandpa to visit her on a regular basis. Aww. Here's a photo of me when I was a few days old as my pod pet, as my pod tags. Sorry about that. Oh my God.
Wow. You had a lot of hair, Melissa.
Yep. Cutie pie.
That is a head full of hair. I was born with like a head full of black hair, which then all fell out and then grew in like towhead blonde.
I was born with, I don't think a ton of hair, and mine was definitely, I was a little towhead too. I was a little blonde, a little blondie now. Now look at me. I'm getting black to blonde, but it's sort of gray.
It's hard to tell these days what color my hair is. It's a lot of pigment missing, we'll just say. Next up from Sterling, pronouns he and him. I started listening in 2017. Kitchen table days. Someone gifted me a year membership. I learned so much listening to your show. I can't believe we're getting ready to go through this hell together again. I tell everyone I meet to listen. I've been having this intense burning inside, like a calling to make a difference, and I'm trying to follow this feeling, and I think it's guiding me toward either politics or journalism. I want to be able to make real change. I have no clue how to even get started, and I really value your advice and experience. I'm a disabled veteran. I'm gay. I'm married. I served under Don't Ask, Don't Tell. I'm terrified that my husband will lose his benefits. I'm scared we're going to lose our marriage recognition on a federal level. I want to get my voice out there, but like I said, I have no idea where to start. Sterling, your kitchen table is calling. Start at your kitchen. Grab a couple of microphones.
Yeah.
Do a podcast about it, about your day-to-day lives, and tell your story.
I love that idea.
There are so many people who are so afraid and feel so alone and isolated right now, and your voice would help them not feel that way. At least a little bit. You know what I mean?
I do. I agree 100%.
Yeah, if you need advice on like what kind of microphones and stuff, send me an email.
There you go.
But yeah, that's all I did. I set up a microphone and had some friends come over, and we started talking. And here we are. And
now she owns a whole podcast network. Are we going to talk about this Chihuahua?
The dog. This is Burrito, the Chihuahua.
Oh, there's more. This is Pooter.
And Pooter. Oh my God.
Yep. Oh, there's another one.
He's a Chihuahua beagle. Oh my God. Look at Pooter and Teddy Bear.
Yep. Also OPSO.
Oh, look at the teeth.
Oh, there's another one. Lamb Chop.
Lamb Chop is a poodle.
Lamb Chop's wearing a diaper, I think.
Oh my God, I love this.
Oh, man.
Okay, so y'all are one of the couples that like adopt senior rescue dogs and love them for their. Is this what you do, Sterling?
Sure looks like it.
I love this. Burrito, pooter, teddy bear, and lamb chop. Thank you so
good.
much.
All right, this is from Roxanne, pronoun she and her. Roxanne. Hi, JAG and DG. I'm writing to share some good news during this very dark time. First, I turned 65 last month, and I'm now collecting Social Security benefits. Hooray! Gives me a bit more income to invest in independent media, activism, and charitable causes. Second, I have been curing ballots in North Carolina, Nevada, and Pennsylvania. On today's PA Dems Cure call, there were close to 600 volunteers.
Oh, my heart.
Me too. Third, a friend sent me a piece posted by the wonderful author Barbara Kingsolver. Since receiving her words Wednesday night, they have helped me get out of bed and back to work each morning. I thought you might want to share them with your listeners, so here they are. Truth and love have been smacked down so many more times in history before today. Truth because it's often inconvenient, and love because it's vulnerable. But truth is like gravity and carbon and the sun behind an eclipse. It's still there, and love stays alive if you tend to it like a flame. If you feel crushed by unkindness today, it's a time for grieving, reaching out to loved ones, noticing one bright color somewhere in the day, remembering what there is to love, starting with the immediate, the place and the people we can tend to ourselves and make safe. We can't save everything all at once, but it's still worth saving something because there are so many of us to do it. And we were all still here today, exactly as we were yesterday, like gravity and carbon and the sun behind an eclipse. That line right there, and I'll close this out, and I've seen it elsewhere. We can't save everything all at once, but it's still worth saving something. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Allison and Dana, for all you do and for continuing your good works despite this crushing blow. For Pod Pet Tax, here are pictures of Poncho and Lefty, who crossed the Rainbow Bridge several years ago, with heartfelt appreciation. These kitties, beautiful markings.
What a sweet baby.
Yeah.
And thank you for sharing those words, like gravity and carbon and the sun behind the eclipse. Man.
Absolutely beautiful.
Whew. Thank you so much. And everybody send all that kind of stuff to us. send. I feel so much better right now because of y'all. So send that in, and we'll be back in your ears tomorrow. Do you have any final thoughts for today, Dana?
I do not. Not today.
Not today. All right, everybody. We'll be back in your ears tomorrow. Until then, please, please, please take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Take care of the planet. Take care of your mental health. And take care of your family. I'm AG.
And I've been DG.
And them's the beans. The Daily Beans is written and executive produced by Allison Gill with additional research and reporting by Dana Goldberg. Sound design and editing is by Desiree McFarlane, with art and web design by Joelle Reeder with Moxie Design Studios. Music for The Daily Beans is written and performed by They Might Be Giants, and the show is a proud member of the MSW Media Network, a collection of creator-owned podcasts dedicated to news, politics, and justice. For more information, please visit mswmedia.com. MSW Media.